Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Big John here, National Housing Party candidate, Hollingwood, Oldham. The man they can't cancel at the moment. With Billy Khan said stuff about us, stand up to racism are always fuming about us. Can't cancel us, guy. Can't cancel us. We're a bona fide or registered political party. We're not grifters. We have to have our money all sorted out. We've got to contact twice a year. We've got to put our what money we've got and stuff like that into the Electoral Commission. So there's no chance of us grifting for any $3 like other people's do. But yeah, I'm in Alexandra Park, ladies and gentlemen. But I thought I'd come down and tell you about Alexandra Park, Oldham. Maybe I should tell you how dangerous it is for women in this park. Good afternoon there, Budgie Burger. 2015, a friend of mine's granddaughter was picked up in this park. She was only 15 or so at the time. But let me tell you how many sex I couldn't go into explaining how many sex attacks this park has had over the years. Obviously, this was also a buffer zone in the Oldham Bradford riots between the Fitting Hill estate and the Glodwick estate. To throw in a bag. So yeah, let me tell you about this park. One of the most dangerous parks in Greater Manchester. Been on the list. It's been in the top 5 of dangerous parks. Sex attacks, general attacks, antisocial behaviour, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I come to this park, I've been coming to this park all my life. I was just bought half a mile on Bourne. This park here I've been using for years. It's empty as well. It's free. It's in gold. And listen, bisexual, that's anything. Now, I'm in a little echo chamber. And now, the trans mob are attacking women and thinking they can get into women's spaces. I don't know who these people think they are. I really don't. And our party are dead set against this. We don't believe any of it. I've just put a picture up on Twitter, and the church has got a pride flag outside. And what I've said is blasphemy. You wouldn't see this on any mosque. Nobody will say anything, though. But if our council, this was a white town and our council were white, mainly white, and they said that they didn't want to support LGBT, they'd all be cancelled. The Labour Party don't say nothing to Muslims. It's just hypocrisy. You know, if when our council leaders come out, our council deputy come out, oh, it's racist if you tell us that we have to support this. They won't get cancelled. I would, though, or a white person would. It's part of the anti-white, anti-Christian agenda, and we're absolutely sick of it. We're in the part where I get a signal, and it's certainly not well, anyway, now, yeah, so it's part of the anti-white, anti-Christian agenda. And if Christians say anything, there was a mayoral, a local council mayoral candidate in London, a black woman, and Maureen something or other. And she said that she believes that the family is the best way, a man and a woman is the best way to bring up kids. She got cancelled and got fired from the council. And she'd worked there exemplary for 13 years, a black woman. Nobody says nothing when it's a Muslim. Just absolutely silently quiet. And this is why I always get angry. The hypocrisy of it all. We'll not say nothing to that person because he's a Muslim and brown, but we'll pick on the white Christian and the black Christian and we'll cancel them. Oh, I'm trying my hardest not to swear. Also, there is a pride service at the church tonight at 6 p.m. Now, I want to go, and it's my church that I've used all my life. I want to go, but if I get in, I'll get angry, and I don't want to be angry in the church. So it's unlikely that I'll be going because I'll get angry and I'll end up saying something to the minister. I might go up outside the church tonight when I see them all going in and try and talk to them, but it's just ridiculous, guys. And we have to put up with this shit all the time. Nothing against Muslims, but if you're not going to tell them, then don't tell the white people or the black Christians. Stop doing it. The hypocrisy of Oldham is unbelievable. The hypocrisy of our council, the hypocrisy of the Labour Party, it's just shockingly unbelievable. Now, Labour won't say nothing. You won't see a Keir Starmer coming out saying, why didn't you attend the Pride Parade to Arut Shah, our council leader? They won't say it. No one will say it. Angela Rayner won't say no. But if I was to, if I so as a black person or a white person, if I said that I wasn't, if I was if I was a council leader and said I wasn't going to attend, I'd get cancelled. But nobody says nothing against Arut Shah. Nobody says anything against Muslims in Oldham. The only Muslim who come out yesterday was Zavid Shawn, the mayor. And he's a shade he gets, 600, honestly. And women are being marginalised. The women, there's a man in Bulner's gender says, know that children have difficulty mental health because as they're growing up, because they're still developing. And if you're going to target children when they've got that kind of issue, it's going to end up bad for the kids. It's going to end up bad for the kids. It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable, the hypocrisy of the Labour Party. You know, they hate me in Oldham because nothing they can do to shut me up. That's what it is. I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm not easily intimidated or anything. Just doesn't work with me. You can't really attack my family. You can't attack my family. You will say nasty things about my mum, but that's what trolls are like. They just pick on like vulnerable people like my mum who's advanced Alzheimer's. And if I ever find out who in the council is trolling, who trolled me on Twitter, I won't be a councillor no more. I'll be a convicted person because I'll beat these people up for talking about my mum like that. Advanced Alzheimer's, and they use my mum against me. Honestly, this is what I'm put up with. I don't care what you call me. You can call me any kind of name, derogatory name. I've got a thick skin. But when it comes to my mum, then you're asking for war. It's simple as. I'll riot in Oldham, mate, if you attack my mum. And she's really well known across the town, and I've been telling people how people try to get to me through my mum, and they're not happy. They're not happy, you know what I mean? Honestly, they're not happy. It's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy of Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, the shit Conservatives, the Lib Dems. They're just a load of hypocrites. That's what they are. A load of hypocrites. We'll tell the white man and the black man, but we'll say nothing to the Muslim man. Just hypocrites, honestly. Just, whoa. I'm not. Calm down, John. Calm down. Calm down. Oh. It's just unbelievable. And let me just give you some facts, right? Let me just give you some facts. I did a video on this, and I put the link up to the over a year ago. Around the year 2000, we had about 50 kids in England a year who went to gender clinic. So this is in the year 2000. I'll tell you what, it's over 1,000. Let's see, come on. Come on, have some guesses. It's in the thousands. Let's see a guess. Let's see a guess in the chat. In the thousands. Let's come on. Let's see one person have a guess in the chat. So in 23 years from the year 2000, the year 2000, 50 kids a year went to gender clinic. What do you think that figure is now in the UK? Come on, guys. Just have a guess. So for 1,000, just have a guess. Let me just go through the chat. Yes, Ragnar, I hope you're all right. June, bag. Sorry about that, guys. I mean, I'm in the park. It's dodgy. I'm on one side of it facing the residential area. It's a bit better here, so I'll just stay around here. Got some fishing spots there, and there's a little pond just over there. And if you look in the pond and you stay there long enough, you'll see terrapins in it. And I was walking past, and there was a couple of families on, and I spotted one. And when I pointed and showed the kids, they were amazed. But yeah, so have we got any guesses? 4,000, Craig, you're not far off. 5,000 people. So it's gone from 50 people a year in 2000, and now it's on 5,000 kids going to gender assignment therapy or whatever. And we know that these people are evil. They push kids into stuff that they shouldn't do. It's just wrong. But again, I wouldn't say anything if it wasn't for the hypocrisy of all our political parties. Keir Starmer can't even tell you the definition of a woman. And gender identity, relationship, sex education was a big thing in the council meeting last week. And why it was a big thing in the council meeting for a full year, on every one of my leaflets, at least quarter of a page was on gender identity, sex education, adult human female. That's what was on my leaflets all year. Nobody said anything. Well, lots of people who I talked to was saying things. A grandma about 65 said, she's all right with people being LGB, but why they're teaching it to kids? And I went, exactly, love. That's why you should vote for me, because no. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Just a crap signal. Sorry about that. I'm headed to. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. Just one of them things. I've got a shit phone. I'm sure it's a phone. Never used to have this problem. One time I'd stream anywhere, even central London, but I can't seem to do that no more. But yeah, so I'm at Alexandra Park. Washout for Pride today. Our council leader's deputy has said it's racist if you go on about LGBT things to them. I mean, unfortunately, it's a term our council love. Arusha loves to say racist. We don't believe in the damn stinking word. But she loves to say it, and they love to say far right. Remember, they went on about the BNP coming to Oldham, far right this, far right that. But it was Oldham Council's inability to deal with racial segregation, housing and education that led for them to come. So it's not their fault. It's not anyone, normal white working class fault. It's our stupid liberal council. That's who it is. That's who the problem is. It's just unbelievable. I'm good, Alistair. I hope you're all right. So I'm down Alexandra Park. Just thought I'd give you my take on a bit. And watch out for us. We're streaming Tuesday, me and Paul Rimmer, and we're going to be talking about a review of the by-election results. And we're going to be talking Spanish elections are in today, and the Vox Party, which is a nationalist party, going to set a precedent in Spain by garnering a load of votes, and this is happening all over Europe. Italy, we've got that Meloni Jean or whatever her name is. She's coming in very traditional Christian, believes in family values. Obviously, you've got Le Pen in France, who over the past 5 or so years have been gaining votes. She'll do well because Macron's going to go down soon, especially after all the violence and riots. I really need to get on to better signal. I'll have to. I'm on gift gaff, so gonna have to look at my provider, see what I can do. And I'm due a new phone anyway. So sorry about that, guys. I just wanted to come down and vent my thoughts on what I think. Don't forget, be live Tuesday night, 7 p.m. With the Reverend Paul Rimmer. And we're talking, we're going to review the 3 by-elections we've had. And going to be talking about the Spanish elections that are being held today, as far as I know. And the party, the Vox Party, and how much they're going to increase the vote, which is what we're hoping to do as a national housing party. I've even had pretty hardcore lefties contact me saying they like the initiative of our party on housing. So possibly in October, I've got to meet there with some far left. And again, I'm not one to not talk to anyone. I believe that talk is good, no matter who you have to talk with. But a lad contacted me, a far lefty contacted me. He can't get an house. His mate, he knows somebody who committed suicide because he was homeless and abandoned. And he just sounded, it did sound for real. But there's no other political party who've got the policies like we've got. And they go on about housing, but things like inclusivity and gender identity are what they're pushing. And we're not pushing that, we're fighting back against it. We're never going to go with the mainstream on that issue. But it's not the only issue. Housing. Just coming up to Town Centre now, guys. Music can hear there. We're from one of the pubs on corner, out corner there. A lot of the pubs will have pride flags. Well, we've got the George Tavern just over the other side there, which is an LGB pub. But I mean, let me tell you about Oldham Town Centre. Very dangerous for LGB people. Very dangerous. The King Street tram stop. 2 gay lads were beaten to a pulp there about 3 years ago by brown people. Rochdale, at the end of the tram line on Rochdale, a lad was knocked into a coma after being beaten by a gang. So, and it's not white people, by the way. It's our tolerant Islamic community. Very dangerous place it is. And when I was at the council meeting a year ago or 2 years ago, a woman said, I think she was a lesbian, I think. And she said, she had that much harassment of the Islamics. Police don't do nothing or anything like that. It's just hypocrisy. But if it was a white person attacking her, the police would soon be on the case there. Midtown Centre, guys, Weatherspoon's there behind me. Just gonna stop on one at the desk and roll a fag. We'll go up to church in a minute and I'll show you up there. Yeah, so it's a quite dangerous place in Oldham for LGB people. It is, honestly. I've done plenty of videos, put the articles up. I've shown it many times. Alexandra Park, one of the most dangerous parks in Greater Manchester. Sex attacks regular. There's been rapes on teenagers. A couple of years ago, there was a load of incidents of flashing and stuff like that to women in the park. And a lot of you might know my mate, Billy Howarth, PAG UK. He's got a wind of it and he's come up with a team because he does street patrols and park patrols. He's come up with a team. He's gone into the park. He's seen a security guard who's Muslim. He's told him what they're there for. And then Billy said this to me, and I don't doubt him. He said, 15 minutes later, there was a big gang of youths, Pakistani youths, running out of the park. Honestly, it's just another one. I'm a Pokemon of me, and I go to that park regular. I'm with ex-girlfriend in the park, and we caught about a 7 or 8 year old lad trying to have a go at a white adult, and he was Muslim. He said a load of fucking politically correct words to him, and this lad wanted to lunge forward and attack this guy. And honestly, the state, and nobody will say nothing. Root Shah won't say anything. None of the Muslims in Oldham say anything. It's the hypocrisy of it. I mean, I have nothing against anybody. I just want people to integrate. There's no integration in Oldham. The Ritchie report in 2001 states the council's lack of inability to deal with segregation, housing and education, because it was giving it all one section at community. And I don't blame fucking white people for being angry. I just don't really don't. I don't blame them. But if you get angry, you're a racist or you're far right. That's all the council love to say. I'd like to see a Root Shah bring something in. Now, I'm a St Mary's lass where I'm registered to vote. I'll attend surgeries, council meetings, and I'm not going to be afraid to point the finger at them and tell them what I think about them. And that's why the council fear me. Unlike the regular white person in Oldham who's too afraid to say anything because we'll get branded with politically correct words, I'll say it for you. So if you've got an issue, if you're LGB and you've got an issue with stuff that I've talked about, people attacking you and stuff like that, get in contact with me. Tell me a story and I'll put it on YouTube. Tell me a story and I'll bring it up in the council meeting. Tell me a story and I'll tell your local council candidate at their surgery. I'll tell them me. I'm not afraid. Not afraid to. You know what I mean? And the thing is, nobody normally attacks me because I'm a grown man. You know what I mean? I'm 56 years old. I don't easily get intimidated. But, you know, Labour Party people, the Labour Party are anti-women. They've always been misogynistic against women in the Labour Party. I've done a video telling you about this. I'm telling you how they treat women in the Labour Party because it's full of patriarchal, they're full of men who are nasty. Who are nasty, honestly. So the Conservatives say that, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to stand for it in my party. If you think you're going to join my party and slag women off, then I'll throw you out the party myself personally. I will. If you're going to join my party and make women second-class citizens, I'll personally throw you out of my party with my fist. That's what I'll do. You know, why do I say this? I've got a mum who's 86 years old. She brought 7 of us up. She's a great woman. And if you talk to people in Oldham Town Centre, they'll tell you how nice my mum is. Shouldn't have a bad word to say about anyone, no matter what colour they are or anything, and or what religion. She don't have a bad word to say about anything like that. And I'm not having people attacking my mum, and being a councillor will go out the window if I ever find out who's said stuff towards me and used my mum against me. I won't be a councillor no more because I'll be a convicted Section 18 person or something, because I'll beat these people up. I will. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Nobody is going to pick on my mum, and it'll go right out the window, that. But, you know, this is what we're up against. I mean, just to remember, gender-neutral toilets. Women have to go in these toilets. We're men. I went to Manchester University question time the other month, a few months ago. My friend, a couple of coffees, and it was gender-neutral. And when I come out of my cubicle, there was like 4 scantily clad young ladies, like 19, 20, and I just felt really uncomfortable being in their space. And I would have felt uncomfortable if they were in my space. So out the window with gender-neutral toilets. Out the window with these trans women thinking they can go in the women's toilets. And if I ever come down to it and I'm there at a toilet and a trans woman tries to get in, they won't be getting past me, I'll tell you that. Oh, yeah. Let me show you this blasphemous blasphemy that our church is doing. I can't come to this church tonight because I'll just get angry, and I just don't want to be angry in the church. Just don't want to be angry in the church. Christians at Oldham Pride. Right on the church. That's what we're up against. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yes, you're right, KRS. Yes, you are exactly right. I know that, yeah. Intolerance, no segregation, yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of Oldham's. So the Oldham, in the early 90s, my dad, West Indian, Windrush generation, my dad and a few other community leaders, there was my dad, there was white people, and there were even a couple of Muslims. who went to the council and said, look, you're putting them all in the same area, you're creating ghettos. Racial tensions have gone up. And it was when an old guy, Chamberlain, got attacked in West Street. And then the riots kicked off after that. But then when you look at the media, just blame the far right. But the Ritchie report states that it was a council's fault for not dealing with the issues in the first place. Racial segregation in housing and education. And now we have dozens of private faith schools around Oldham that don't teach British values in them and stuff like that. And I'm against it, me. When I get in the council, I'm going to tell them, me. I'm going to tell them. I mean, Cotterill Road, they built a £10 million Indian temple on Cotterill Road. On the old, the old First Choice Homes yard. First Choice Homes build houses. Now, when First Choice left that yard to a new one, they said they'd build houses on it. Then some Sikhs or Indians have come across, no, can we have a temple? So they built a temple on it. And it's the area that needs most housing in Oldham. So how are we ever going to solve our housing issue if we let people build temples on prime housing ground? You just couldn't make it up. I've been furious about it, me. Absolutely furious. And then we white people in Oldham go, oh, it's such a nice temple. Yeah, but they built it on housing ground. Well, what do you mean, well? Nobody's got houses. We're all struggling. There's hundreds of thousands of people homeless and veterans and all that. Yet we let a stinking Indian temple be built on prime housing ground. So what I did, I went across the road and knocked on about 20 houses. And in one of them, there was two families measuring 9 or 10 people in a 3-bedroomed house. And what the dad said to me is that his son has to move out of Oldham to get a decent property. There is none in Oldham. Yet they built a temple across the road. Just couldn't make it up, honestly. You just couldn't make it up. And I scream about this. Like, no one listens, but they're going to have to start listening. I'm going to have to start listening, because I'll turn up at council meetings, I'll turn up at ward surgeries, I'll turn up when the councillors are out, and I'll ask them the difficult questions that they're just going to go, they won't be able to answer. And I promise you, in the next general election, when they do a hustings, if they don't invite everyone to the hustings, now, a lot of you might be aware, there's a Muslim activist in Oldham called Raja Mia, who was kicked out of the Labour Party and screwed over by the Labour Party. He's got a one-man mission against Andy Burnham, Jim McManaman and Oldham Labour Council. He's on Twitter. You can easily view him on Twitter. And I don't like the guy. Can't stand him. And I've made this clear when he first come on the scene. But everyone has free speech, and I never doubt some of the things he says. When a Root Shah car got firebombed, the media, the council, far right, and it was Raja Mir who got the video that showed it were brown people who, it was their own community from another gang in town who burnt a car up. But again, they tried to blame it on white people. Then next thing, Root Shah's got Joanne Anderson and a load of the Liverpool lefties campaigning with her in Chadderton, you know, like she's been attacked by the far right. Oh, honestly, the hypocrisy. And if that's what she has to keep saying, then she's going to get it back in her face, and so will the rest of them. In the last election, we had 37% of the people running were Muslim. It'll probably go up again next year, and the following years. I'm not saying they're all bad, but it's nasty, because all this LGBT thing comes on, they're against it, but they don't say nothing. And it's just unbelievable. And our rights are being trampled all the time. It's everything for them and nothing for everyone else. And if you don't believe me, go and look at the Ritchie report into Oldham Bradford riots. So this is in 2001, and I weren't an activist then. I'm just repeating what that report says. Segregation in housing, education, segregation in housing and education in Oldham, and it's the council's fault that they never dealt with it. It was Liberals. Liberals are running the council about 2000, 2001. They never dealt with it because they're too scared. They're too scared of being branded racist, politically correct terms. And it's unbelievable. Fucking, you know, you can brand me whatever you want. I don't care. And again, I'm a man, me. Proper man who don't get intimidated. I'm not easily pushed around or anything like that, and I'll speak my voice. But yeah, so tonight we've got the LGBT service, blasphemy, in our Oldham church. Let me tell you about this church as well. We've got a school over there called Blue Coat School. Now, to get into Blue Coat School, you had to your kids had to spend a couple of years here going to Sunday school and that before they got in that school. But that's all been thrown out of the window now because the Islamics want a good school and they said it's not inclusive enough. Yet, they have hundreds of schools around Oldham that's just Islamic schools and there's no people in them. Let me tell you about Clarksfield Primary School where the kids don't even get an education properly. They don't get taught English properly and they get taught of people who can't speak English. Just a joke. Also, Iqbal High School, Glodwick. The council said you can have the school in Glodwick, but you've got to make it mixed. They just put all girls in it and just went against the council's directive. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up in Oldham what it's like to live in Oldham. And I mean, you all go on about other places where you live. It's nothing like Oldham. Oldham's one that has got some of the Oldham has got was the biggest Bangladeshi community in the UK and also some of the oldest Pakistani communities in the UK. So don't no one tell me about what it's like to live in Islamabad in Oldham, because I know what it's like. It's a lot different than other areas. You're only just getting immigrants coming to some of these towns and you're all crying. We've had them here for 50 fucking years and nobody's done nothing. Nobody's said nothing. The general white population won't say anything because they're afraid of being branded with politically correct terms, which the council have done for all the time. Whenever something goes on, they'll blame the far right when it's nothing to do with the far right. It's to do with our council's inability to deal with these issues. Now, it's the same with the rape gangs. No one's ever dealt with the issue. They've just kept silent and covered it up. Now, when I speak out against it, I'm branded with politically correct words. But it's been going on for 50 years, more than 50 years. Look at the state of Rotherham, to say he's phoning me up while I'm live streaming. And no one's ever dealt with it, guys. No one's ever dealt with it. And the general white population in Oldham are just too afraid to say anything because it's been pushed on them so much about far right and all this rubbish. Remember, the BNP came here in the 2001, and they entered one of the MP elections and got about, I think it was 8,000 votes. The council didn't like that. But they still blame white people when it's not white people. They still blame the far right, when it's not the far right's fault. And if violence comes to Oldham, it's because of Oldham's council's inability to deal with these issues, which is stated on the Jays report in 2001, that for 30 years, the council have just ignored all these issues and not done nothing. The council have just ignored all these issues and done nothing about it, and it's turned into a cesspit of extremism and an anti-white agenda. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. Just couldn't make it up. But it's going to be funny in general election next year. I promise you, if they don't have every candidate at the hustings, then I will shut them hustings down with people of Oldham. with hundreds of people outside and will shut them down because they don't want to hear the little man. And if the little man comes on, just brand him and say he's far right or something like that. It's just ridiculous, honestly. It's just so bad in Oldham now for that kind of thing. And it's a Root Shah council leader's favourite weapon to say is far right. That's all she says. And so do the rest of the stinking council. In the last term, the council have had a pay rise. And there is, I will say, there is a couple of people on the council, few people who are white, and a couple of Islamics a couple of Muslims who've fought against the council, against child sexual exploitation. But unfortunately, if you're a Muslim and you come out and you're against that, you get attacked off your own community. That's how it goes. Because we don't brand that everybody is the same. It just doesn't work like that. The Nazis, it were only a small percentage who were evil. Not every Muslim is a terrorist. Not every white person is far right. But the council portray that image that it's everybody. And it just winds me up. That's why I'm running as a political candidate, because no one else is doing anything. No one says the things that are on my leaflet. No one says. I had that scumbag delivered leaflets in Oldham, probably with my name on them, but I haven't seen any of these leaflets. None of them a bit, and I know a lot of people in Oldham. Nothing's ever come. I don't believe they did any leaflets. And not here we had on the MEP tour in Tommy's thing. None of them will say anything to my face. You know, just slimy scumbags. Dr. Louise Raw, anti-fascist. She's one of them. And she put up a tweet saying that I started a riot. Then a friend of mine who votes for me said, "Oh, some Muslim guy said you started that riot, did he?" I went straight onto Facebook and did a big fucking post and said, "Email me, talk to me." And no one emails me. Nobody comes up to me to talk to me. Nobody in public will say anything about the stuff I say. Just all flakes. Honestly, they're all flakes. Well, ask Andy Burnham. Who tells it as it is. I do. Mer's question time 5 times. And one of the times I turned around to the police and said, "You're all crooks, sex offenders and gangsters, and you're a national disgrace." And this was at the time of Sir Everard's killing. And what about Bury? East Street in Bury. A woman was burnt to death by her husband. Nothing. Not one peep on the news or anything. They did an initial report saying that there's a murder investigation open and nothing. Nothing's been said. All right, the case has just gone quiet. Honour violence. Sarah Hussein, her name was. Look, let's research it up. Sarah Hussein, East Street, Bury. Burnt to death outside of her house. Early evening, still light. And it was recorded off half the neighbours in the area. And I got a recording of it coming out on fire, dropping to the ground. Nothing's been said. There's no women's rights people. There's none of this Labour Party, Angela Rayner banging her hand on table. They fucking don't. They don't do that when it's Muslims, and it sickens me. If somebody would come out and said something about it, I wouldn't say anything. Again, you know what I mean? A lot of people who run for council, they don't put their addresses down because they're shit houses. My address is down and my phone number. I'm not a shit house. If you think you're going to come to my door and threaten me or do something like that, then God heaven help you. That's what I'm saying. God heaven help you. If the police don't get to you, I mean, baseball, bat, an absolute joke. That these things go on and nobody says nothing. Absolute joke it is, guys. An absolute joke. Which area is that, Ashley? They do, yeah. Well, what else? What else can I tell you? The Richer report in the Richer report. I've been through this, and between the Bangladeshi community and the Pakistani community, were given 8 million, which is the biggest community at the time in Turkey. Councils and that suck up to other ethnic communities. In the council meeting about child sex, afraid of upsetting minority communities. That's what I said, and they are. You know, we've got to be strong, and then they need it now. It's just gone even worse. It's just gone even worse. Esley, which area is that? Yeah, so Urban Talk. Let me just give you a bit of this. So the housing list in Oldham 2 years ago, where you had to get points to get houses, they scrubbed all that and put it into overcrowding and poverty, which is all them people who have more than 2 children, big families. Them are the ones who all come in that area, so they get best houses, unfortunately. But you know, not saying all that community. Orsted Street's just up the road over there. Orsted Street goes down. One of the pubs called the Shakespeare has been made into an HMO. And there's a Muslim woman and a kid in the town centres are dangerous that that woman cannot come out of the house when it's dark or in the evening. And she's been shoved into an HMO. There's no back garden or anything like that. No back garden. I don't want kids living in flats. I don't. These flats behind me, there's some flats behind me. They used to be for old people, but now there's all families in them, and old people, and people who do antisocial behaviour. Just nowhere for anyone to go. But we know that the councils across England have sold all these houses, kept the money to give themselves pay rise and to put in other sections of the community, ignored everyone else. And we've got an housing crisis now across the UK. We've sold a quarter of all the housing in the UK is owned by foreigners who don't even live here. And they're charging extortionate rent prices. And we want them houses back to house British citizens first. You know what I mean? Not the entire world. Also, councils are being given money specifically to house Iraqians and Syrians. Before British West Indian or Windrush generation, you're not getting a white person, you're not getting an house. Could be a Pakistani who's lived here 3 generations. And I'm dying the black victims, imaginary black victims. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. I'm outside my house now anyway. I've had me rant. Think about going to church later on. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Just had to, not been out for 2 days, been stuck in with my mum, and it's been minging weather, and I just wanted to get out, have a bit of a walk, some fresh air, and that. Let's see. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Sorry about the dodgy signal. I will try and upgrade my phone soon and stuff like that, get on another network other than GiftGaff, and I might get a bit more. But thank you for listening to me ranting on. And I'll catch up with everyone. Don't forget, 7 p.m. Tuesday, me and Paul will be talking a bit of a review of the 3 by-elections. And me and Pat and Paul were right on what we said last week about the elections, that Reform aren't going to go anywhere. They got a few votes. He got 2.3% of the votes, Lawrence Fox, but didn't have any local councillors and has hardly done any knocking. And that's never going to work. You've got to knock all the time. And my borough's got 20 wards in it. And not until I've got a councillor in every ward, in half of them wards, would be running a candidate for Member of Parliament. I'd like to, but by that time we may have someone else. Cheetah Mill, John, oh my God. Yeah, I know it well, mate. Cheetah Mill, yeah. Oh, I'm just sorry. You know, when I was 15, Cheetah Mill, Moston, and all that's where we hung around when we was teenagers. And Moston's like Little Africa. And I know Cheetah Mill's changed. 2019 general election, we attended a big mosque in Cheetah Mill, and it was the hustings and Brexit Party, Labour, all the rest of them. Graham Stringer were there, and I went with my mate Ryan in his mixed race, and I stood up me and I said that the Labour Party don't deal with the issues that come in communities, and I talked about the Oldham and Bradford riots. So after I did that, Graham Stringer stood up and said, the lad who said about Oldham, which were me, I have got it on video of him speaking. No, we've learned lessons. 1 month later, it come out that Victoria Agolia died after being raped by an estimated 100 men. She went missing 150 times from the care home she was at. 150 times reported to police, and nobody did nothing. And she'd ended up dying of heroin overdose, given to her by some guy who got him on drugs. Victoria Agolia, everyone knows it. And a month later, it come out with that, and the guy that did not learn any lessons, because I brought up the Oldham riots to Graham Stringer at Cheetah Mill, and it was in a mosque, mate, honestly. And I stood up and I said it. I said it, that you're too afraid to deal with racial tensions, racial segregation, which was in the Ritchie report and from 2001. And I stood up and said that. But you know what? Nearly all the hall clapped and applauded me when I said it. You know what I mean? And then our mate Ryan don't know nothing about Islam, but we was talking to people afterwards, and he says, you know, I've no problem, but no one's going to marry my 8-year-old off. That's what he said to someone in the Oldham. And this woman went, no, we don't do that. And I turned around and said, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Forced marriages on little kids, you do that. If it's not in England, you do it in Pakistan. And I said that in the hall. But then were the days when I had, honestly, I'll try and drag up the speech that Graham Stringer said. And I've just no fear, me, of saying what I think. And I don't have that fear of political correctness in me, although everybody is guilty of being a little politically correct now and then, and I'm guilty. But again, I'm just not going to go down that route. My route is we have to speak truthfully and honestly, and if you can't speak truthfully and honestly, then no one's going to vote for me, and no one's going to support me. But that's what you get off me. You get truthfulness, honesty, facts. I don't make things up. I do have an opinion, but a lot of the times, everything I talk about is based on factual things. That's why people can't shut me down. I don't just turn around and say, right, I want everyone out of my country because of Brian. I don't say that. You know what I mean? I just don't say things like that. I don't say derogatory terms. I don't call anyone the P word. I don't say the N word either. That's one of the words that if my dad would have heard me saying nigger, he would have beat me up. And my dad was Jamaican. He would have beat me up if he heard me saying that word. And if my dad were alive now and he's seen what West Indian youth are like, he'd be absolutely fuming. If I went down Manchester like the other day, kicking off with all them kids, I'd have been grounded for a month, and he'd have beat me with his belt and his fist for doing that. And you know, we got brought up not to use them kind of with the N word. I mean, black people use it really freely and all that lot. Oh yeah, Alistair, yeah, he did. Black people use that word freely, but if the general black population in England realised how that word has been used in the past, they just wouldn't say it. And my dad was one of them who just would not have us saying that word. He just wouldn't. He'd have kicked off. Well, he did kick off a few times with my sisters and me if that word ever got mentioned, especially in the house. But, you know, he came over in the Windrush days, and he came over for a better life, and he did. He ended up being a community leader. He ended up, he was one of the founders of the credit union in North Manchester. He was the governor of schools, and he was a very vocal person on the rights of workers and things like that, all sorts of workers. He didn't just protect one particular class. He looked after everyone. And when we had the Oldham Bradford riots, some of the main meetings between the police, the council, and community leaders was at my dad's house on St Mary's. And no word of a lie, I come round one day, the streets are blocked off on either. Eden Street was blocked off with police cars and standing policemen. And I'm walking down towards me house, got pulled off police. I'm going to my house. Where's that? I said, like, Acorn Way, that's where my dad lives. And why, what are you going down there for? It's my house, mate. My dad's Granville Lawrence. And when I went in the house, he had half a dozen community leaders in there and trying to talk about the troubles and the riots. And then it was a year after that Gavin Opley were brutally murdered. So 3 lads had been in the town centre. They walked down Waterloo Street thinking to get a taxi, went under the bridge, all got chased. One of them managed to get in somebody's house, some Muslim person's house, got him in. One of them made it back to town. Gavin didn't make it back to town, unfortunately. And he was finished off by a flying kick, aided by a fence to the head, and his head bounced on the floor, and he was dead within 2 days. And there's been nothing. There's been nothing. No one even mentions it. And then the other week, a councillor, Rayaz Ahmed, I forget his name, was stepping down as a councillor, and everyone were doing speeches about him in the council. And oh, he did well in the Oldham Bradford riots. He did well to calm the community down. No one mentioned Gavin Hopley, who got murdered the year after. Everyone absolutely blanked him. Gavin wasn't a crook. He wasn't a thief or anything like. He wasn't a thug. He was actually a security guard. He was actually a security guard. So he'd have been trained to be a security guard. So he wasn't a thug, and he was brutally murdered in Glodwick. And his killers, the highest sentence was 21 months and the lowest sentence was 8 months, and they got violent disorder charges. It was Esley, it was a cracking area. You know, where the Asda is and the estate behind it, and it was it called the Moston Pub? When I was 14 years old, we came down there to a friend's birthday party at that Moston Pub, and a couple of years ago, I lived down that end, just off Rochdale Road in Blakely. So I spent like 4 years there, and it just so run down. But it used to be one of the best areas I liked coming to when I was a teenager. And you know, I never felt out of place. And I was never bullied or threatened off anyone. I've got a family down there now, and long-term family friends down there. And but the past few years when I went down, it's just totally changed, mate. And I did feel threatened and that, but it weren't for white people. Unbelievable. But thank you everyone for listening to me ranting on. Just had to get a bit of fresh air today. Again, I've been stuck in for 2 days, and my mum, and I don't know what it is. She's been agitated. She's not been sleeping, so I haven't had much sleep myself. But I've had a good walk and talk today. But thank you very much. Don't forget, 7 p.m. Tuesday with Paul Rimmer, live on my YouTube channel, streaming to DLive, VK. It'll be on Twitter and everything. But thank you very much, guys. Thank you.